right to speak into your life. We've been talking about the triune life. Today we're going to be talking about the triune you. Don't forget to follow us right there on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Select USA TV. Select USA TV. Don't forget to follow us right here on HAPS, one of the best places to broadcast whatever you are doing that is significant to the cause or the mission that you're trying to accomplish, or if you're just having fun, right here on haps.tv, a very great platform. Don't forget you can also support us right here, and you can look around, become a member, and all of that there. This is SIBN Sunday's Thought, Triune You, coming up in just a moment. Yeah, let's get into it. How are you today? I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you had a great week. And we are back here again, live and on demand. My name is Marcus Saletta, and thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. Last week we had some visitors. Thank you for commenting. Leave comments right there below. Don't forget now to share the broadcast. Today we're going to be talking about the triune you. The triune you. We're going to get a little bit into a review from one of our first in the series of the triune life. I want to go back over something just to make sure that you are being helped in the best way possible. Let's see here. Remember, we're talking about the sequence of you. We're talking about the sequence of you. And we have shared with you my own personal story of my own brokenness in soul, spirit, and body. And I believe I shared with you about the body, but if not, I'll maybe put some of that in there today. But the triune sequence is that all three of those equal who you are or who you are becoming. If you're satisfied with who you are, you should be completely disappointed in yourself because we're ever becoming. We're ever becoming. We are not who we were. We are becoming. Isn't that great news? So today I want to remind you of that sequence. So when we see brokenness, as we have been discussing in so many areas, when we see brokenness in our lives in this triune sequence, it doesn't mean that we don't exist as one. In theory, we are as one. But now when it comes to getting our life tasks together, then that's where we may struggle. All right. So here with this triune sequence, my spirit, soul, and body are one. My spirit, soul, and body are one, the composite of one. But the potentiality of my oneness is challenged within the three. And so I've shared with you, as I said before, stories, my own personal story about my brokenness. But I want you to understand that despite whether or not you choose to change or not, change is inevitable. Change is inevitable by force or by choice. Change is inevitable. We all must experience and walk through the portals of change. Some of that change is forced upon us by the society and the laws of our land, and some of it is chosen. Hopefully we're choosing to change. We're choosing to change. But this sequence, I want to really encourage you to know that you are one divided into three. I'm going to reiterate that. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Let's just talk about your will for a moment. One of the things that I did in my grateful declaration this week was to say I'm grateful for the ability to choose. If we find, and I have found, but when we find, I should say, that we cannot freely choose, then we know we have been broken or fragmented somewhere within our will. Now, I don't have the time to go into it, but I could tell you a little bit about how certain associations and fellowships, friendships, and beyond can hinder or arrest your ability to choose. Perhaps being easily misled, perhaps peer pressure, things of that sort, and deeper can apprehend your ability to choose freely. And so you will find that in this triune sequence, the effectiveness of your oneness within yourself, peace within yourself. How can you be how can you walk with somebody unless you're agreed? How can your body exist in this one sequence of spirit, soul, and body unless the three agree? The three are not always in agreement. Theoretically, you are one. Positionally, you are one. Legally, you are one. Biologically, you are one. Psychosocially, you are one. But then we have the fragments of our soul, the fragments of our body, the fragments of our spirit. And we don't want to get too deep into that today. I just want to reiterate and finish up from last week. So we find that we have this soul and we have this spirit in this body. They all work together. I see now in our culture where we are really, 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 we're really beefing up that look. We're really beefing up the body because we know that all that is in the world is the lust of the eyes and pride of life, right? So, we're beefing up the parts that we can see. And we're not tending to the three dimensions of who we are that we can't see. And this is the essential factor for growing exponentially. This is my desire, to grow exponentially, to grow beyond the cavity, beyond the mode of expectation. I need some help right there. To grow beyond my imagination. To as soon as the spirit shines a light on an area in my life, boom, want to get right to it. Two things you want to do, because today we're talking about the SH, self-healing and wholeness strategies for self-oneness. One of the things we can do is let go quicker and forgive faster. Those are two strategies right there that will keep you flexible, moldable, meek, ready for the next trial that's coming your way. Because, we live in this life and there are trials that are constantly coming. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you don't have, your race, your political affiliation. The trials of life are coming your way, my way. That's a guarantee, along with death and taxes, you could say. But if you want to flow faster in your self-healing and wholeness, that's what the SH&W stands for. One of the strategies is to learn, pray, meditate on how to let go quickly. Don't, the losses, they hit us hard. Shout out to the families of the 13 soldiers, men and women who lost their lives in Afghanistan. When the trials come, they hit hard. Are you prepared for the trial that's coming after that, and the one that's coming after that, and the one that's coming? You're going to need your triune sequence to be intact to handle all of this pressure. So learning how to let go, of things, of people, of control. Here's a little tip that I want to give you that may help you along the way. Someone said to me, you can have growth or you can have control, but you can't have both. So we have to decide, am I going to have growth or am I going to focus on controlling all of the elements that I think that I control anyway, that I think that I can control around me? And a lot of us spend a lot of time trying to control the outcome. The only outcome that you barely can control is your own. So you have to be encouraged to remember, let go. I remember when my father passed. Let's just talk about that for a moment. The losing of a loved one is hard to let go because we're grieving now their physical and emotional presence. I don't know who this is for. We're grieving, missing their voice and missing their imprint, their footprint in the culture of our family. And when that person is gone, it just seems that it opens up an eye of, as one person said, a politician said, it opens up a black hole if you're not careful. So what I want to encourage you to do is hold on to something. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to the encouragement that you're getting. Hold on to your meditation. Hold on to that exercising that you're doing. Don't just stop and allow the emotional roller coaster to just shoot you right off the roller coaster when you're in the air. There's no parachute, nothing. You just, don't let life, take you off the rails there. And losing a loved one is a very, very good example. Look, some people are good with death. They don't show anything, and there's, I guess they call that strength to some degree, but others of you that are listening to the sound of my voice know what it's like to be devastated by the death of a loved one, a brother or sister or auntie or uncle. And so letting go in that sense is letting go of their physical presence, but holding on to their spiritual presence, holding on to the principles and or the laughter or the memories of that loved one, but letting go of their of the thought that they're not here, they're not present with you anymore. They're not. You can't hear their voice conversating to you, where you can hear it in your heart, you can hear it on tape or on film, but that person, the absence of that loved one, how to even grieve through that, because the grief is because you have to let go. And the second strategy for self-oneness is to forgive as quick as possible. Listen, I am number one for the person that just wouldn't forgive. Be careful who you hate. You become like the ones you hate. But forgiving is also the art of letting go. Forgive our sins as we forgive those that have sinned against us. Forgiving. Two number one strategies, write it down, that will help you grow in your self-oneness. Why self-oneness? Because remember, we said that if you're not one within yourself, then how are you going to conquer the battles of life? How are you going to conquer the varying projects that you're going to embark upon? How are you going to dream? How are you going to imagine if you are broken and the triune sequence of your life is not, triune sequences of your life is not as adequately fit to meet the expectations of life and the unexpectations of life? So letting go and forgiving, but let us not forget what brokenness looks like. Because we live in a culture now where we're renaming everything. We're renaming everything. We're renaming the things that are wrong and calling it right, and we're calling the things that are right wrong. And so never forget what brokenness looks like. One of the strategies for self-oneness is to never forget. What are you not going to forget? You're not going to forget the extremes. Remember when that loved one died, how you almost lost it? You remember when that person left you, how you almost lost it? You will always remember that one of the impediments to your growth and your stature in life is extremes. Let all things be done in moderation. Number two, brokenness looks like false balance. You're over here, you're good over here, but you fall down over here, and then you make it look like you're strong over here, but then on your loved ones, you leak over here on them. So you want to make sure that you're balanced in the sequence of your oneness. I felt something push me. You want to make sure you're balanced in the sequence of your soul. Why? Because this prepares you for the onslaught of trials and even achievements that you're going to achieve and endure in life. The trials you're going to endure. Life as a good soldier. So you want the oneness of your heart, the oneness of your mind, your ability to choose. You want the oneness in your emotions. And it takes a lifetime. We'll be working on this until we pass from this place. But the oneness of yourself is critical as we remember not to deflect, as we remember not to put all of our problems on someone else. It's not up to them. It's not up to her. It's not up to him. It's up to me if it's to be. And one of the things that we do that often ciphers away the power of who we are, the oneness, the sequence of who we are, is when we do not admit our faults. Admit your faults one toward another that you may be healed. And this has become in our culture uh, um, uh, a noble characteristic trait that's rare to be found. We're now living in a society that literally calls wrong right and right wrong. We now live in a society that is more popular and more favorable to bully people with our words and to pile what looks like wrong onto them as it's being their fault. You see, but the strategy for oneness, for self-healing and wholeness is to stop putting our faults on others. Now, there are going to be in the political environment and in other environments in the years to come, you're going to see an unleashing of brokenness in our society. You're going to see a caveat of celebrated confusion. You're going to see and witness, perhaps within your own families, a hazardous way of living. We have left caution and jumped into the wind with folly. So one of the strategies in being whole and being you, release, let go, forgive often, and remember. Remember these 7 or 6 different avenues where brokenness is obvious. Well, I mean, we're even living in a time where brokenness is celebrated. This is reprehensible. To celebrate what's broke or to damn the others or them or they as they are the cause for my demise. They are the cause of this situation. If it should be, it's up to me. Don't forget that which you have buried deep. This is another remembering point. Things that you have buried deep in your subconscious. Things that you have survived deep in your subconscious can break off your self-oneness, the oneness within your triune sequence. And you have to really, I find myself sometimes gripping life with both hands. You know how you drive with one hand on the steering wheel, but sometimes you have to put both hands on the steering wheel and hold on for dear life. Why? Because life is coming at you strong and fast. And sometimes in your meditation, sometimes in the times of high achievement, you're going to find out that there are things in you that were buried long time ago. Nobody knows what's there. And even you will forget what's there. Deep in the dark recesses of your soul, deep in the dark corners of your heart, places of trauma, places of calamity, unprocessed, unhealed, empty of wholeness, yet bleeding in the locked room of your soul. Don't forget what brokenness looks like. Body defiance. Listen, I'm not against tattoos. I'm not against piercings, none of that. But when you notice that you are defying your body more and more and more and more, that is a signal to you. You're crying out for help. Go get help. The hardest thing it is for people to do is to admit they need help. We all need it. We all struggle with life. So if you need help, get help. Body defiance is a clear sign. It's a clear sign. There's a celebratory part of that. But when you start defying your body, you want to change its origin. Come on now, I felt something push me. Be real careful that your soul, your triune sequence is not affected by your body defiance. Some of us used to hate ourselves. Right? Nobody knows it. Nobody knows you used to hate yourself. Nobody knows that you used to hate your body type. We're talking about self-healing and wholeness and the strategies to keep you together. That's what oneness is, to keep you together, to keep you functional, to keep you at the highest potential, to keep you at the highest level of excellence when nobody else is looking, when nobody else is grading, when nobody else is giving you accolades. What do you look like? What does your self-oneness, your completion, your triune compartments look like? Most of us are a hot mess. I said, most of us, if we would admit it, we are a hot mess. But the reason that we don't often admit our wrong is because we have a hidden agenda. So how can you be one with yourself when you're taking advantage of others? And people that are taken advantage of so often, they tend to want to go into the path of self-destruction because their worth has plummeted. I want to encourage you on today. Listen, part of what we go through in life is the burning. That which you don't need to hang on to your being, your character, that doesn't suit you in your future. I want you to allow the trials of life to burn off that extra dross, if you will. That which you don't need, that which you could do without, that you may be one within yourself. Don't forget what brokenness looks like. Look in the mirror. Perhaps as we are going about life, sometimes we project our strength, and in our society there's very little humility, very little. Everybody's strutting something, and if you got it, they say strut it. But self-integrity, introspection are the keys to your oneness. Looking in the mirror, looking inside of you, and knowing you're not all where you want to be, but hopefully you're not where you used to be. And as I challenge you today, I want you to think of this. Let me show you something real quick if I can. Listen, we want to work on getting rid of the dross. What is the dross? Each one of us are gold. I put it up there, then took it back. Each one of us are gold. We talked about last week, the path to wholeness is with less resentment and resistance. As long as I am fighting against the pricks, as one scripture says, as long as I'm kicking and screaming, as long as I'm declaring what I'm going to do, I hear more people now, which is really, really scary. I hear more people talking about what they're going to control than anything else. And it's amazing. The pathway to wholeness, to healness, healing being multiple pathways leading to that whole of the sequence of the triune you, is filled with resistance and resentment. You can't keep bucking the change. It's difficult. It's often unbearable, it seems. But let it burn the dross off. Let it burn that excess self off. It's not suiting you. It's not helping you in forward thinking. It's not helping you clean up the mess. There's too much. You can't shine through the dross. The dross has to go first. The film of filth, the film of beliefs, that has to go before we're able to work within me as one. let alone we do it for human beings. Then we hook up with somebody else who's not optimized at their oneness. Imagine that. And we act like, oh, it's cool to downgrade that brother, talk about that sister, or step over and step on or lie about. It's dross. And we all have it. That's the good part. You don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel indicted, because we all have dross. But let's get rid of it. Let's let the system work. Let's let the process work. It's going to hurt. You're going to shed some tears. You're going to be quiet sometimes. You're not going to know what to say. You're going to be ecstatically joyful that you got rid of certain things. But it's worth doing. Why? Because according to your design, you got a lot to manage. I got a lot to manage. I can't manage all this with chaos and confusion. And I'm seeking how I can get away with this and get away with that, and how I can sneak this and sneak that. No, there's too much going on. What we have to remember is this: for us to be whole, we have to be healed. If you are healed in the area of your thinking, if you are healed in the area of decision making, if you are healed in the area of managing your emotions, if you are healed, then you start to walk in wholeness. Wholeness is not something you can go into the store and buy off the shelf. And the benefits therein of wholeness are not accessible to me if I refuse, I resent, and I resist change. I don't get the benefits. In some cases, I don't even get a chance to see the benefits. Why? Because I refuse to change. I resist change. I resist. And then, the very complexity of it all is when we intertangle ourselves with others, and then you talk about a hot mess. Well, who's going to be humble enough to stop, self-correct, or allow the wisdom of the matter to rule the day and not the knowledge in our heads? Who's going to stop? Who's going to be humble enough to stop and investigate or go within to see what they can do differently, to be one with themselves before you start hooking up here and hooking up there? And in some cases, you may already be hooked up. A little brother who's bullying you, a schoolmate who's terrorizing you, a co-worker who can't stand you, a boss who doesn't see you. The strategies for wholeness is in the paths of healing. And the question today is, how triune are you? What part of you is synchronized, is optimized to the level and to the degree that you are functioning at a level, or you're being challenged to function at a level beyond your imagination? I wasn't supposed to be here broadcasting. And many things in life that almost snuffed me out. But I'm here to tell you and to give you the greatest news of all time. You can be healed. And there's a lot of intricacies to discover, such as one I'll give you before I leave today. Your zodiac sign tells you how you are naturally. It's what you're forecasted to do and act. But you can alter that. That's where your spirit comes in at. You can alter your natural way to be more meek, to be more humble, to be more available, to be more conscious, to be more patient. I want to encourage you. You can be better. You can be more powerful. You could be a lot more powerful. I could be a lot more powerful. What is holding us back? Are memories holding us back? Memories can hold us back. I mean, several nightmares that I've had over the decades still come. But am I going to allow that to stop my strategy from working? I want to encourage you to be the best. To find a way to heal. Find a way to optimize your triune sequence. Find a way to do it. I appreciate you. You are loved. You are special. You are growing. Give yourself a compliment sometime. When was the last time you gave yourself a compliment? It's about that time. It's about time that we stop resisting the help that has come our way. And every one of us are partakers of more than second chances. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to share us. Don't forget to leave your comments right there in the booth right there below. I appreciate all of the followers. Don't forget to follow us right there on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and beyond, wherever SIBN television and radio is found. My name is Marcus Slett. I appreciate all of you. And until next time, be well.